Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the concepts of processes and threads? You're not alone. Many programmers find these ideas challenging. In this video, we'll break down the key concepts of programs, processes, and threads. Mastering these fundamentals will help you write more efficient, bug-free code and equip you with the skills to troubleshoot tricky issues that seem impossible to reproduce. Let's dive in. Imagine how a restaurant operates. Programs function in a similar way. When you open an app, a process is created. This process has its own identity and is allocated address space for program-specific information and data. For instance, I started my test program, and I can see that process ID, PID, 87857 is running. This indicates that a process is simply an instance of a running program. In this context, an instance refers to a specific occurrence of that program. Now, let's look at the process address space, which consists of 4 segments: code, data, heap, and stack. The code segment stores instructions, much like a restaurant's operational guidelines. The data segment holds global and static variables, similar to a restaurant's supply closet. The heap segment allocates memory for dynamic objects, akin to a kitchen where ingredients are prepared. The stack segment tracks local variables and function calls, just like where each employee keeps their personal items. Now, let's talk about threads. Just as a restaurant manager oversees operations, a main thread within a process starts execution and manages the program's overall flow. A thread is a unit of execution within a process that shares resources but maintains its own execution context, such as the program counter and registers. Additional threads can be spawned from the main thread for specific tasks, much like a manager hiring more staff to handle various responsibilities. Now that you understand what a thread is, let's explore some key concepts related to it. Resource sharing. Processes and threads share resources like memory, files, and network connections. This can lead to conflicts if not managed properly. For example, imagine 2 chefs trying to use the same oven simultaneously. To avoid such issues, synchronization mechanisms like locks and semaphores are employed. Lifecycle. The lifecycle of processes and threads varies among programming languages, but some principles remain constant. Non-daemon, foreground threads keep the application alive, while daemon background threads do not. Always consult your specific language documentation for details. Thread scheduling. Thread scheduling is controlled by the operating system, which determines when to switch between threads. Even if a thread doesn't voluntarily yield, the OS can pause it to let other threads execute. Parallelism. Threads can achieve true parallelism, allowing multiple threads to run simultaneously on separate CPU cores. This makes threads ideal for CPU-bound tasks that require parallel execution, such as image processing, data analysis, or complex calculations. Let's summarize a few key points. 1. A process is like a restaurant in a running state. 2. Threads are like employees performing specific tasks within that restaurant. 3. A thread can spawn 1 or more threads, or even a new process as a child. 4. Threads share the process's address space, requiring careful management. Threads have their own private memory, including stack memory for local variables and registers for state management. 6. File descriptors or network connections from the parent process can be accessed by child processes, but those opened in a child process are unique to it. Let's keep it simple. Understanding processes and threads is essential for writing efficient concurrent programs. Just as a well-run restaurant relies on coordination, a program depends on managing processes and threads effectively. Did you know there are alternatives to traditional threads, like coroutines, that are more lightweight, performant, and easier to manage? These options often eliminate the need for locks or synchronization mechanisms, making concurrency a breeze. Visit us again to explore advanced topics like this and other related concepts. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.